so you can focus on recovery. We'll work hard to ensure that you receive the compensation you deserve. We have a team of professionals experienced with big truck law, and we'll get to work on your case right away. In a wreck, need a check? Call Patterson Legal Group today.
Patterson Legal is the way to go. Call 550-0000.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
Yo, it's Jay Uso from WWE, and I'm Jimmy Uso. Chumba Casino and WWE are hyped for the biggest event of the summer, SummerSlam. I know, I can't wait. There's nothing better to do while we're waiting than playing Chumba Casino. Sign up today, and you could win a VIP experience with Chumba Casino and WWE for SummerSlam. So what are you waiting for? Play Chumba Casino and enter for your chance to win. Let's Chumba. Yeah.
Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
If Bugs had a dating app, your car would be getting a lot of matches. Love bugs, June bugs, all swiping straight into your bumper. And it's not just ugly. That buildup can actually damage your paint. Time to unmatch. At Tidal Wave Auto Spa, we make it easy to wash away bug buildup and bring back that clean, glossy shine. Sorry, bugs. It's not you. It's Tidal Wave. Get clean car happy at Tidal Wave Auto Spa.
From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, don't worry about me. I called ART.
Traffic. The rain is causing some problems. Watch for a wreck on I-135 south past 1st Street. It's on the shoulder, but traffic is a little sluggish there. Also on I-235 near Maple Street, you can expect some minor delays of a crash. From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, that's your Odyssey Wichita traffic. Weather.
Good morning. A stormy start to the day with no change through midday. Numerous showers and storms will taper off, though, this afternoon. Cloudy and a high of 75. Small chance of an evening shower or storm, then continued cloudy overnight, low 65. Mostly cloudy on Friday, a bit warmer, high 83. Chance of storms during the evening or overnight. Same story on Saturday, high 85 with a small chance of storms. That's your forecast from Storm Team 12. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Mike Vrabel spoke ahead of Patriots OTAs today, and he seems ready to put the drama with Diana Rossini in the rearview mirror. And honestly, so am I. It was kind of a fun story, or at least a story to have a little bit of fun with in a downtime of the NFL schedule. But at this point, I'm bored with it. Vrabel's job is clearly not in jeopardy, and there's no longer anything to gain from the story. It happened. We all know what happened. It's time to close that drama-filled book and move on. I'm done.
Work. You're there, so we came too.
I brought beer.
Dude, we can't drink here.
Oh, well, more for me.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Hey, Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
It's your one. Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. Come to find out, Victor Wembanyama is not an alien. Dude is actually human and mortal and looked at both on and off the floor in last night's loss to OKC. Look, if we're going to sit here and call this guy the best player in the world right now and praise his incredible leadership for a 22-year-old, then you can be sure we're going to call him out when he exhibits none of the above in the most important game of his career. Show up like that once again tomorrow, and the Spurs can start booking tee times and flights to Cancun. Furthermore, skipping out on the media and not wearing that poor performance and answering for it is also extremely weak. You want to be the face of that franchise, the eventual face of the entire league, the potential GOAT, then start acting like it. You can't just take your ball and go home when things don't go your way, unicorn. This dude picked a really bad night to have a really bad night. Do better, big man. I'm Jim Rome.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The U.S. Treasury just released its official financial report for 2025. Buried in it is a startling admission. By its own numbers, it appears the U.S. government is insolvent. When governments go this deep in debt, they print money, raise taxes, or cut benefits, none of which can help protect you. That's why people move part of their savings into physical gold and silver. Call Monetary Gold at 877-NOW-GOLD for their complimentary gold and silver guide. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. Do it before the next headline, not after. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Storm. Raindrops drop wetly. Black thunderclouds fill the sky. Piddle, piddle, plop. And here's where things get a little crazy. This one's entitled Pizza. Cheese and tomato dance upon a crispy crust. Too hot. Burns my tongue.
You vile girl. You're not to touch any of my things. Do you understand me? Dirty, dirty girl.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily.
Don't take drugs.
All right, welcome in, everybody. How are you this morning? Jacob Albrock, Brady Bowman in for TJ today. Glad to be with you on Sports Daily. It is very interesting here on the show today as we get the landmark college legislation that is sure to change, but we'll dig through what's been on there and what's in there now and what's been added and taken away and all of those things as we make our way through. Tim Fitzgerald will be in today, our K-State insider, but good timing to have him help give thoughts on what we're seeing here, what we're liking, what he's hearing from people on how this will go. The Royals lose again. At least they don't have to play the Yankees anymore, but it's getting out of control here. Jaylon Thompson, our Royals insider, moves up a day to join us. And I believe we've got the voice of the Tulsa Drillers, Dennis Higgins, in for a real brief conversation on Bat Dog. Bat Dog's been suspended. We mentioned that story yesterday. They had the dog. A player got injured getting out of the way of the dog, so we'll bring him in, see what's going on just up the road in Tulsa. It's all coming to you. What's on tap today? Brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, your summer spot. Pizza and apps the whole group will love. Seasonal beers, full cocktail menu for the adults, and new dirty sodas and homemade root beer that keep the kids away. WBCU this summer at Wichita Brewing Company. We've got you on the KFH hotline at 869-1240. We've got you on all our socials, Facebook, YouTube, X. We got you on 12 News Connected in the Odyssey app. Thank you for listening, watching, however it is you take in the show. We appreciate it. Brady, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, Jacob. A very rainy morning, at least here in Cali County. I don't know what's doing where you're at, your neck of the wood. A rainy one out there.
Oh yeah, it's a little
umbrella.
It's a little rainy. It's needed. It rained a lot out west yesterday. We're happy for them. Riverfest starts tonight. I think the plan is it'll still be clear for the parade and all of those festivities. We'll have some audio of all that here on our Odyssey family of networks. So look forward to that a little bit. Programming note, but
cool
we're happy
down.
to be here in it.
Cool everything down for state track just in time.
That's actually a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, state track gets underway today. Yes,
tomorrow.
State tournaments in the other sports get going today.
Right.
State track tomorrow, Saturday. The cooled air will be nice a little bit. I think that'll time out actually pretty well. Should clear up and get things cooled down for everybody that's going to be sitting out there. So good luck, everybody, in those adventures that you have coming up this weekend. No show tomorrow, programming note, because of a lot of those activities and just a lot going on. We will have regular Odyssey programming tomorrow, Westwood One Sports. You won't have us tomorrow. We'll be back Monday. So We get into it, Brady. This college bill will dominate kind of what we're doing today. What did you think? I mean, it's hard because we just keep finally coming. I think it's here. I mean, I think it's here. It's bipartisan. We know it will change by the time it goes through a very lengthy legislative process. I think there's a lot of stuff in here everybody kind of agrees with. I think there's some stuff in there some people will agree with and some people won't. And it'll be exhaustive to try to get it to the finish line, but at least it's a starting point. What were your initial thoughts on this thing?
Yeah, very similar. Looking through some articles last night, whether it's the AP Times or the ESPN article. I mean, clearly, it is one of those things, right? No matter which side of the political aisle, everybody agrees that there needs to be some changes. I don't think that's a big secret. That's a pretty, in a divisive time, that's the one thing that we seem to all agree on right now is that college sports right now is kind of messed up. And it's kind of hard to follow year in year. And sometimes it's very hard to take seriously. As far as staying with that traditional view, and Jacob, we're pretty much the same age, grew up around the same time, both 90s kids. We remember the era before when college sports was college sports, when you had freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, and they were getting coached up. Yeah, there was things going on still, even back before our time as 90s kids with Eric Dickerson and that whole thing with SMU and SMU getting the death penalty and all. So there were still things going on, but there was still that sense that this is college sports. These are just kids, and who knows who's going to be a pro, and we can remember when. And now, the last few years, it's just been like, what's really the difference between, especially college football? What's the big difference between college football and pro anymore? There's some things that this addresses.
I got to tell you, though, if we're talking about college sports as a whole, yeah, I would say that I can get nostalgic about
sure.
But when we're talking about college football, when we were growing up, I think it's way better now. Way better now.
Well, what do you mean by better?
Well, we can actually get to a point where teams play each other to find a national champion.
Sure.
That's the main thing for me. You've increased a playoff a little bit to be more than just two teams, which was insane. I mean, growing up, like, that was always my problem. I'm like, how can I get excited about all these games when only two teams have a chance to win it all? Like, I don't want to see that. And then we're just guessing at who gets in there. They don't play each other. They don't play anybody.
Yeah,
So
I mean, as far as TV ratings,
I always felt ripped off as a kid with college football. The bowl games, sorry. Like, I mean, I liked them because you like the players that are going on to the NFL. And then once we expanded the playoff a little bit, even to 4 teams, I thought it was a great thing. Now we're at 12. I think it's better. Who
was your team growing up watching?
Notre Dame, I suppose. I went to a D2 school, so I didn't really have one. It had been Notre Dame as a kid.
Yeah, Notre Dame, they've always been an uphill battle for Notre Dame.
Right, yeah, it's always been a struggle. But it doesn't matter. Like, you gotta play the teams you gotta earn it a little bit. And so I think we've gotten past that. As far as the roster craziness and everything.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm talking about.
I think we get a little dramatic with it, to be perfectly honest. A little bit. Not a ton. I love that we've had these rogue teams have big years. You think Indiana turns it around in the old days? No chance. Right? So I think there are fine things happening in college football. College football to me is,
I agree.
I don't think college football's really been the brunt of this. Now, the trickle effect of paying those players, the Wild West of the transfer portal, and its impact on other sports is certainly a negative. Certainly is.
Well, I think the biggest negative.
What you're talking about, though, like with college basketball, especially, you're like, man, I really did like when guys stuck around at these schools. And I would agree with that. But college basketball's never had a postseason issue. College basketball's always had the best postseason. And that's one of the reasons we fall in love with players that stay a long time, is because we see them play in March Madness, right? So I think it's the doom and gloom to me isn't coming so much in what we're watching. It's coming more in what's happening to these schools and what's happening behind the scenes. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll kind of dig through piece by piece what's in this thing. If you didn't have a chance to look through this bill, there is a ton of stuff in there. And there's stuff in there that kind of came out of, off the top ropes and out of right field that you're like, okay, let's wonder what that's going to be all about. But we'll get into all of it. It's all Brockton Bowman on a Thursday. Glad to be with you here, everybody on Sports Daily. We'll be right back.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Is on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you. Long Offer Lawn and Tree Care, celebrating 60 years in Wichita, providing expert lawn care for a healthy lawn, tree and shrub care, and bedweed control since 1966. Longhofer Lawn and Tree Care. Glad to be with you here. Just looking at something that got sent in, by the way, for everybody listening out there, we talked about the weather and all these state tournaments. Keisha is looking for some volunteers still for some of these state events, soccer and track and field. If you'd like to get out, if you'd like to volunteer, go to Keisha's website and check that out. They're still looking for some people. Just a quick mention there. All right, Brady, we're talking about this college bill. Look, there's a lot of stuff in there that's not going to go or not going to be feasible, but we're just beginning this process, right? Like, for instance, there's language in there that requires out of conference annual rivalries to be played. Now, in spirit, you like that, right? Like, for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, it's like a requirement that you have to get in there and play. For maybe Kansas and Missouri, the problem is it'll be really hard to decide what those rivalries are. Reddit CFB put together a list of what those teams and games would be for everybody, and it's pretty crazy. Like who like there's some simple ones, there's some easy ones. For instance, Texas Tech, it's the top historic rivals that you play the most games against that aren't still in your conference. So for Texas Tech, it's like Texas and Texas A&M, you got to schedule at least one of those every year. Well, okay, that makes sense. That's not that hard to achieve, right? That's not that big a deal. But for Kansas, it's Oklahoma, Missouri, and Nebraska. Okay, so like you got to schedule Missouri every year. Okay, we can make that work. But there are some real wild ones that go out of league that will get very difficult to do every year. So there's language like that has to probably be sorted through. But that's not the stuff that most of us are concerned with. It's a kind of a throw in where you're like, okay, that sounds pretty good. Let's have that happen, right? Let's get those teams in there. So then you get into the nitty gritty though of this, Brady, and just at the absolute surface, it's antitrust, which means it aims to stop the lawsuits. That's going to be the most important thing. It's got NIL rules. Basically, it wants to better federally enforce what they're trying to have, if you remember, the CSC enforce on salary caps and NIL rules. Again, okay, I don't know that stuff's quite as important from a fan's perspective. I know it is from the university's perspective, but I still think it's going to be really difficult to try to help determine what's legitimate NIL and what is not legitimate NIL. But okay, like it's in there now, because if there's laws, remember antitrust, like if they create laws with this, I assume that means no lawsuits. But it's going to be hard. That stuff's going to be hard to get through unless you go to the Supreme Court. But then it has to be constitutional. Forgive my judicial ignorance on that. But I think that's how it would work. You make the law. That's what everyone keeps saying, and they're like, "Oh, good luck for that holding up in court." I'm like, guys, they're trying to change the law. Courts enforce the law, right? Like the law is the law. If the law says that they can't sue because of X, Y, Z, they're not going to be able to do that unless there's a constitutional issue, which I don't think any of this, bleeds into that realm. So that's the main thing to me. Then we get into some of the other nuance that's pretty interesting. Regulation of boosters, collectives, and agents. Capped on what agents can make. Okay, we've seen that coaches there's restriction on coaches. Coaches can't leave in season. Schools can't hire coaches in season.
The Lane Kiffin rule.
The Lane Kiffin rule.
Yeah.
So it's not just all, and this is where you get the bipartisan piece of it, I think. It's not just all, we're going to take the players' rights away with this bill. I don't think that's what it's going to be at all. I think they know that if this ever is going to get through, they're going to have to do a little bit of both. It's got to be such hard legislation to write up, right? Because we all want this thing to exist that doesn't abide by any rules that we really know of, right? Other than like the way it used to be. But legally speaking, it's like, yeah, but that's kind of a weird thing that existed with college sports. These athletes are going to make these universities a ton of money. They can't have any of it, all these things. Well, now they can have some of it. Now they get too much of it. It gets a weird thing to try to navigate. So we're going to see stuff like that on both sides, I think. There was rumors of a coaching salary cap. I don't believe any of that was in there, but at least the movement from the coaches will be restricted. But here's where you get into what I think will be the most important and meaningful things done with this. And that is the governing bodies getting more authority over transfer rules. So to me, in my opinion, right now, the thing that drives us the craziest as fans is the player movement. I said this yesterday. I've said it to a lot of people. I don't care that much how much guys make. Doesn't mean much. It doesn't bother me. Doesn't move the needle for me. Good for them. Like, I'm not real worried about Arch Manning's, wallet. Don't care. I'm far more.
It was fine anyway, right? He's a Manning.
How good he plays football, right? And so I think for a lot of people, that's the case. Like, we may hem-haw about how much guys make or whatever, but it's like, who cares, right? That's because that's what somebody's going to pay him. Now, again, to the opening segment there, the way that impacts other sports on campus, that does, I think, bother all of us. But that's not the player's fault, right? I'm not going to blame them. Universities spend too much money. Period, flat, end of sentence. They spend and waste too much money. The transfer portal thing, I think, bothers everybody. I think it is the part of this that has gotten us as fans just to kind of get sick and annoyed of this stuff. Now, when the dust settles and you get players on a team and your team's good, I don't think you care as much. But still, the whole process of like having to re-recruit your players, guys leaving every year, like players playing for 6 teams in 6 years or whatever, that's the part of this, in my opinion, that's really become a detriment to the sport. And that is where we'll dig in here. But would you agree with that, or do you get bothered by some of the salary numbers you hear floated out there?
I think on the money side of it, what bothers me is just, again, what I was saying earlier, and forgive me for missing what you said at the top. I was having audio issues right at that when we came back. But to me, it goes back to just that romantic view, that Rudy romantic view of college sports, where what matters is the play on the field, how well they're coached, that traditional thing. And I know that's long gone, but going to the transfer thing, yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing when you hear about a kid that's been at a different school every single season, the way coaches are having to recruit their players, not just every year, but like every month, like constantly. That's what you're worried about, is just trying to keep a star player. And that's where I think there's some things that a lot of people are going to agree with in this legislation if it goes through. There's still a lot of hurdles. And basically everything I've read so far is saying, like, this is still quite the long shot of actually happening.
Yeah. It's going to get changed. Yeah. It's got to go through these committees. I think that's why we have to sort of try to sort through what's the fluff in this,
right,
and what's the, what are the real key components of this that can go through. I do think, look, none of this matters if they don't get the antitrust part through. So I think likely the goal will be, here's all this stuff written by fans and written by people who think there are parts of college athletics that are out of whack. Let's just shoot for the moon. And we're going to get into some of this as we go here because it's wild what
see
some
what
of
sticks.
this stuff is. But I think the antitrust part is, I mean, it has to be at the forefront of everything, because if they can't stop the lawsuits, nothing changes. So that, I think that is real and tangible and will be in there no matter what. I think governing NIL will try to be in there no matter what. But with some of that stuff, you're going to see things go back to the players, right? Regulation of agents, capping what agents can earn, capping coaching movement. There's a part of this that would require schools to provide health, safety, and academic protections in there.
Which that's something I thought already kind of existed, right?
It kind of does, but this, I'm seeing the word strengthen. So whatever, that's a player benefit.
Yeah.
The cap is, again, it's loose. NIL opportunities still exist. It doesn't explicitly say players can't collectively bargain. It just kind of leaves that alone. So there are a lot of things in there where, one side of if there's an opinion from, politically speaking, from one side of the aisle, it's a bipartisan bill. Like, they crammed it all in to try to appease the other. But that's why I think it's important as we look at it, we try to sort through, okay, but what is really the main thing out of this that's going to have the biggest impact? And I think that's where we get into the transfer policy, going back to one free one, moving to this 5-year plan that we know everybody was kind of on board with from the school's perspective. I think that's the stuff that changes this the most. If you only get 5 years and you had to sit out a year after your first transfer, you're probably not doing that.
You're going to be more careful.
So that will curtail some of that craziness. And naturally, if you get control of that, this out of control pay scale will also be ratcheted way down, because it's not open season on basically every player in the country every off season. Okay, that's why this has gone crazy, because at some point a booster's going to say, man, we got to go get that kid. Like, we got to go get that kid. That's what we're seeing Texas Tech do, right?
Yeah, tell me a number. I'll write.
What is it? What is
tell
it?
me
We'll
a number.
Get him.
Got my checkbook open.
Those at the end of the day are the things I think that pull from this, that stay the most, that have the most staying power. But again, they have to go to all the committees. Then it's got to get through both chambers. I think the president will sign this regardless. I don't see a scenario, because he kind of put the initiative to all these. I don't see a world where he doesn't just sign whatever comes on this. So really, you got to get it through the two chambers. Everybody's, I'm always on the fence, Brady. Like, I say this all the time. Like, all these politicians are looking for dunks. Like, they all want to say they were responsible for something.
Sure.
Right. And so I think there's two things that could happen. There's an opportunity for everybody to be like, oh yeah, I supported that bill. We saved college sports. Yeah. I support that. Or you can go the ultra other way and resist it just to be a pain in the neck of the other people. Both are still possible when you're in this infancy, right? The first run at this, what they call it, the SCORE Act was didn't even make it.
SCORE was one, SAFE was the other. And from what I understand, this legislation, I remember a PC something SR or something like that. God, forget what this
College Sports Act.
That's right. It's like basically a combination of the SCORE and SAFE Act.
Acronym.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The other thing about this, though, conference realignment, and this does kind of address that a little bit. It kind of basically bans a super league for the most part, which that's something that the SEC and Big Ten are probably, that's probably why they're apprehensive to say, let's pass this. What they're saying right now, the Big Ten and SEC commissioners right now are saying, yeah, we support a lot of these changes, but we still need to look at the whole bill before we give it our full stamp of endorsement. And I think the TV money and the Super League regulations and those sort of things, I think when it comes to SEC and the Big Ten, that's what's they're going to be apprehensive about. And when to me, going back to what we were talking about earlier, when you're asking me kind of what's my biggest gripe, if you will, is it the transfer portal as it is now? Is it the money? To me, it's probably more, if anything, it's conference realignment and what the effect, as we know here in Wichita, and Wichita State knows, the effect that's had on other sports, like golf and all these other schools with, non-revenue programs are having to travel all across the country. And the effect that that's all the conference realignment. And I'm not sure how much this addresses a lot of that. I mean, it does, but we're really focusing on the money and all that. And I'm with you. When it comes to the players getting paid, that doesn't really move a needle for me too much as far as outrage is concerned, or just concerned in general, because these schools and college presidents, athletic directors, coaches, I mean, they've been making millions hands over fist for decades now. And it's well past time that the players who are responsible for a lot of that revenue to finally get some of that revenue headed their way. I've always been okay with that and always been for that. The conference realignment issue, where you have, rivalries are gone. You have, like again, going back to Wichita State golf, it's like, why are they playing in Florida all the time? Like all over the place. Well, of course their program's having issues. Of course they're having revenue issues because of that travel cost, especially now with the way travel costs are. So, that's the big thing to me is, how do we really address conference realignment? But it all goes back to TV money. And I'm glad you mentioned that collective bargaining agreement issue. It was really buried in the ESPN story. It was buried in the lead. It was the last graph in the story.
Because it doesn't really address any of that. It just says whatever.
But it's interesting to me. These are all 18-year-old kids, right? These are all adults. We've all agreed that they're older than 18. They're making a lot of money for these colleges. They should get paid. But don't you dare form a union. And to me, that was kind of an eyebrow raiser to me a little bit through all this. It's kind of like, oh, and it kind of showed the bipartisan thing, between Republicans and Democrats, there's a lot of different views on things. But even like a lot of people tell you when it comes to politicians,
for sure,
about money.
Yeah,
when it comes at the end of the day, they're looking at money.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, and we'll get more into this. There's stuff in there though that like the SEC and the Big Ten are going to hate.
Yeah,
and so they're going to immediately lobby their politicians to like get that stuff out of there. Like, we can get more into this with Tim Fitzgerald and in the next hour, but like there are things in there about pooling media rights money.
Yeah.
Which they're not going to want to do.
No.
The forming a super league provision, they're not going to want to not have that option. So that's the kind of stuff where I think this will get the most resistance, because you'll have to start to see lawmakers from those parts of the country that are beholden to those universities. They're going to get major pressure to push back on some of that stuff. So you'll have your typical partisan, foundational things that they'll want or not want. That's where you have to just generally get bipartisan support to try to cram through transfer rules, NIL enforcement, and antitrust, because that's where this all starts. And then this other stuff's in there. It feels like to me a little bit to kind of be taken out and appease people. Now we'll see if that's the case, but I feel like that's where we're headed with this. Like some of this stuff, it's in there so that maybe you can make somebody in these committees feel good to be like, all right, fine, we'll take that out of there. All right, but you got to agree to everything else. Like we'll take that part out, but you got to agree to everything else. And then
midterms are coming.
You'll have that whole process. It feels like they put everything in so that they could take it out piece by piece to get everybody where they ultimately want to be. But again, we're real early with this. We'll talk more about it as we make our way through. When we return, Royals fans, you still out there? We're going to have Jaylon Thompson in next to talk Royals.
lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
this thing. Go! Sports Daily is on KFH. And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
Well, we welcome in Jaylon Thompson, Kansas City Star, Royals reporter. Jaylon, welcome in. Thanks for switching up for us as we don't have a show tomorrow. Oh, boy. What is it, 2-13 now in the last 15 games, something like that? They go on this homestand. We talked about how poor it was. They're 2-7 on that homestand. Sorry, three out of their last, I think, 13 or 14 games, whatever it is. This is
so much better.
We ask you every week, Jaylon, panic meter. Where's the panic meter?
I think there's no more panic. I think this is just what this team is. So.
Oh, no, that's worse.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah, it is. It is. I said last week, you have to win 2 of those series because you're going to get swept by the Yankees regardless. And you didn't do that. You get swept by the Red Sox. You get swept by the Yankees. You win 1 game against the Mariners. Or wait, 2 games against the Mariners.
Yeah,
so you won the middle series. So I just don't think that this team has enough juice to go where they want to go. It's clearly evident that the offense is not good and it hasn't been good all year. The pitching has injuries. So I just feel like this is where your 2026 Kansas City Royals are. They're a flawed team. They're a team that does not have the goods to get you over the hump. And you can look at different metrics if you want to make it really simple and plain for you guys. They can't hit. They cannot hit. They have guys that did not show up this year the way that you thought they were going to show up. You can say it was a WBC. You can say that that's why Vinny Salvi and Michael aren't playing to their ability. Well, Bobby played in that WBC. Bobby's turned it around. He leads the league in hits, doing all that he can do. So I don't know, but this team's not good.
It's so tough to think back to after that Seattle sweep. Last month maybe by now, and we were thinking like, oh, the ship has been righted. We're gonna be okay going into the All-Star break. And boy, not only did we knew they would get swept by the Yankees, but boy, were they. Like, what was it, 15 something? 15 runs by the Yankees in the first game or second game. And then another blown lead going into the 9th. And I'm trying to find that stat. I read it last night. But when it comes to leads going into the 9th, the Royals are like one of the worst teams in baseball right now as far as leads going into the 9th. And I think that's where it's really frustrating right now for fans is that you go into the 9th with the lead and you're thinking like, okay, maybe we'll get this one, and just blown saves. That has been kind of, I guess, getting hit while you're down, punch while you're down. That's what it feels like when a gut punch when you lose that lead going into the 9th.
I agree, Brady. The Yankee series in particular, since it just happened, 50-10. That was what the Royals and Yankees scored through their 6 games this year. Yankees scored 50 runs. The Royals scored just 10. In this previous series, the Royals scored 4 runs against the Yankees at home. You had the New York Yankees fans take over Kauffman Stadium all 3 games. Tarps off couldn't even save the Royals. They got broken up last night by the ushers.
Why, by the way?
I don't know. Apparently that happened, right? So, yeah, it's the Royals, their offense, you have to score. You had Garrett Cole come back from his second start after a long injury layoff. He shut you down. You got shut down by Cam Schlittler the day before. And then, like you said, Brady, the game that you could have won, you yacked that away in the 9th inning. So, I don't know. Something's got to change. We can talk in circles all we want about, this should be better, that can be better. But until those three guys in that clubhouse, in that locker room, the three guys I'm talking about, Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, and Vinny Pasquantino, your leaders, your tent pole guys, come together and get this team going in the right direction, this is where it's going to be.
But what can change? I guess we get to that point.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like what can they even do? Right? They're not only are they playing bad, they're banged up. And I think that's where, like, if we looked at it and we were trying to be whatever, it's like, 5 games out of the wild card. It's fine. Right? You could still say that. I mean, technically speaking, you can still say that. And that's what's so crazy. The problem with it is they're giving you no hope that they could ever play good enough to do that. And that's been the problem for weeks now. But then you look at the injury list and you're like, okay, well, 40% of your rotation is going to consist currently of Noah Cameron and somebody. Lavinder Avila, it's not going to be Bailey Falter anymore. But that's a part of the problem too is, okay, like if everybody starts playing a little better, they still have a ton of injuries that they're going to have a hard time, getting through anyway. I think that's, to me, that's the hopeless feeling. Like you envision like, okay, what kind of stretch of baseball would it take? They'd have to go, they'd have to make up 20 games before the end of the season. They have to get on a stretch where they win, 12 out of 14, whatever. And you're like, okay, yeah, I could maybe see that. But then you think about it and you're like, oh, but wait, they got to do that with 2 guys in the rotation every turn that you're just like, I don't know if that, and a bullpen that's banged up and not been consistent. That's, I think, the hopeless feeling. Because even if you could get things on track with the injuries, are they even talented enough missing the guys that they're missing right now?
Yeah. I think that even with the injuries, you can lean on that, but everybody has injuries, right? Every team has significant injuries. They're missing guys and whatnot. And you can say, oh, you're 5.5 games back in the wild card. But how many teams do you have to climb over just to get to that point where you're even in the discussion? And I know the purists out there, the optimists out there, and I'm a big optimist in my personal life. Oh, he's got 100 games left. You can still turn around.
Me too.
That is true. That is true. But in your heart of hearts, if you sit down and you just, when there's nothing around you and you're thinking about it, clear mind, full hearts, can't lose, right? This Royals team's just not that this year. It's just not that. And I think people have to come around to that fact that this team, they didn't really improve this offseason. They ran it back with the same people, and those same people aren't playing up to their capability. So this is what you got.
Well, then, Jaylon, I mean, it's unfortunate on May 28th that I asked this question, but looking ahead to next season, when it comes to the roster now, like where's the big focus right now as far as like where that change needs to happen? Jacob asked about what change needs to happen now. It seems like we're past that, but as far as looking at next season, where do you think the change is going to be focused on most? Which players mainly trying to play to stay on the team, or somebody that maybe the Royals would shop around? How's that? Again, it's unfortunate we're talking about that on May 28th, but it seems like that's where we're at.
I think you need offense. You need to find as many offensive bats as you can find. Because even this year, if you look at AAA right now, there's nobody that you can say, that guy can come up and give us 12 to 15 home runs and give us a spark right now. There's no one. You're going to bring back up Drew Waters. You've seen that story. Cam Meisner, he hasn't even done enough to stay up in the big leagues. John Rave, same thing. You've seen that story. Who do you go get? Josh Rojas, Abraham Toro, those are veteran guys that was in the big leagues. They're still trying to hold on. Kevin Newman, same thing. There's no one down at AAA that you can bring up to give you a spark. So you have to replenish that offense, I think. And I think you started at the trade deadline, honestly. Does that mean you have to give up a guy like Michael Wacha? Probably. He's your best trade chip. Do you give up Chris Bubich and Matt Strom when they get back healthy? Probably. Those guys are on expiring contracts. You have to go out there and really revamp this offense because If pitching and defense is your calling card, then if you take a hit in that area because it's a strength of yours to fix this offense that hasn't been fixed the last year and a half, I would do that. Because you cannot waste Bobby Witt Jr.'s time with the organization. Because 2031 is ticking, and he's going to be like, yeah, I got to opt out. I don't want to.
Well, he's opting out either way. It's whether he comes back. He's not playing for $35 million in 2031.
So, I mean, you got to pay him. And you got to show him, hey, stay in Kansas City. That's the number one goal. If I'm the front office, if I'm John Sherman, the owner of the Royals, keep Bobby Witt Jr. satisfied. And I can promise you, it's frustrating right now, and he's probably not satisfied playing for a losing team right now.
What can be moved this year? You mentioned Waka, Bubic, I assume, if he gets back healthy. Can they get pieces? I guess the next great fear for this organization would be, okay, because the last 2 years have been successful, right? They made the playoffs, and then they were above. Like, we could call them successful years. This year not looking that way. So I think the next great fear is, how long does this last? Because you're right, their system is kind of all called up. They've spent a ton of money by their standard in free agency the last few years. So do they trade big contracts and then try to still go keep a payroll high? Like, what are the chances this is a short-term problem?
So here's the good thing, that if you're in the know and you follow the team for the long haul, they have a lot of young, good, talented players in single A.
Okay.
There's a lot of talent down there that's coming. The problem is they're young and they haven't got here yet. I'm sure you guys have heard the names Kendrick Churio, David Shields. Those are two high-quality pitchers that are top of the line. I just did a story on Justin Lampkin, college guy that they drafted last year, already made it in Double-A, is dominating. So the pitching depth is there. There's a guy named Josh Hammond they picked first round, dominating in the lower levels of the minors. They drafted Sean Gamble first round last year. So they're coming. There's some international guys that they've drafted that are starting to seek their way through. Carson Rockefort's in Double-A and crushing the ball, 12 home runs, great defense, probably will be the center field replacement for Kyle Isbell in the upcoming years, right? So there's talent. It's not at the highest levels of the majors or the AAA right now, and you need that talent, but it's not here yet. It's on the way. So I think you have to just keep doing what you're doing until you get to that point.
10 games on the road, Texas, Cincinnati, Minnesota. Maybe we can change our tune next time we talk to you, Jaylon.
Maybe you need to go 7-3.
Oh yeah, we're 10-0. Yeah, we're getting to that. We're getting to that point. Follow along Jaylon's work. Maybe it turns into looking down in the system and trade deadline and those things at the Kansas City Star. Jaylon, we appreciate it. We appreciate the schedule change. We'll talk again next week.
Talk to you guys later.
All right, there goes Jaylon Thompson. We got another hour of Sports Daily coming right up.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas fan headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Storm. Raindrops drop wetly. Black thunderclouds fill the sky. Piddle, piddle, plop. And here's where things get a little crazy. This one's entitled Pizza. Cheese and tomato dance upon a crispy crust. Too hot. Burns my tongue.
You vile girl. You're not to touch any of my things. Do you understand me? Dirty, dirty girl.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily.
Don't take drugs.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you, Jacob Albrock, Brady Bowman. We've got some big stuff to still try and sort through this hour a little bit. We'll bring in Tim Fitzgerald. We'll have Tim help us through this college legislation. We'll we've taken you through the bare bones. Now we'll get into some of the weird stuff in this hour as well. Dennis Higgins going to join us, voice of the Tulsa Drillers. Have you seen the controversy with the bat dog at Tulsa? One of the Dodgers, I don't know, call him a top prospect, but he's a high-level prospect, injured, avoiding the bat dog, and kind of a freak accident a few days ago, and now that program getting suspended. I believe Max has been able to track down Higgins. Good job, Max. So we'll have that coming in a little bit. It's all coming to you. What's on Tap, brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, now featuring the cheeseburger in Pizza Dice Pizza. Beef, American, and Monterey Jack cheese, pickle, onion, burger seasoning, drizzled with a tangy burger sauce. Cheeseburger in Pizza Dice at WBC, your summertime pizza made here. Your calls, comments, always welcome. 869-1240. You can email the show at sportsdaily@kfhradio.com. You can leave your video comments on Facebook, YouTube, X. We've also got you on 12 News Connected. Appreciate everybody there, and on the Odyssey app. If you are on the Odyssey app, you can actually leave us voice messages, which is kind of interesting. So do that. Do that if you'd like.
Cheeseburger in Pizza Dice?
Yeah.
What a fantastic idea and name for a cheeseburger.
I'm pretty on board with everything they do. So
that sounds fantastic.
I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm in for what's happening there. Wichita Brewing Company, great supporters of our show, and just happens to be my favorite pizza place in town most of the time. There's a lot of
good place
pizza.
to watch the Royals.
There's a lot of good pizza in Wichita.
Absolutely,
like a ton of good pizza. But yeah, we appreciate theirs. Speaking of great supporters of the program, shout out to Crestview Country Club, getting some rain like everybody else today, man. Is going to be popping. They're already getting work done to get ready for the Wichita Open coming in about a month's time. So that work is already well underway, but no problem. You can still play on those 36 holes right around it. You've got the full unintruded South Course to get after, and the pool's open now. Best pool in town. I would contend. Great bar, great restaurant, all the great facilities there at Crestview. Give them a call. Go take a tour. Tell them we sent you. We appreciate their support of the program.
Everything you need's right there. Everything you just listed. Yeah.
It's all right there, baby.
Where else do you want to be?
Family and I have been there for a long time. We really enjoy it. We really do. And it's not what you think. If you're like me and you're kind of small town, grew up, and you're like, yeah, I don't know about all that. I'm telling you, it's been a blast, and we love it. And it's a great community of people, and probably unlike a lot of places that you might not want to be a part of for whatever reason. This one's a great family environment. So check it out.
I can't believe it's almost Wichita Open time.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just nuts.
Isn't that crazy? We're going to have them in soon-ish to kind of go through what it's been like moving now to the new tour. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll have Dusty Buell, tournament director, in to talk about how that's been going. I've heard that the corporate part, the party part, the sponsorships, all that has gone about par of the course. And now it's really about the single ticket sales, and those are still available. And, I really don't think much is going to change from a fan's perspective. I really don't in this new tour, because you didn't really know these players anyway when they were on the Corn Ferry Tour. You're not going to know them on this tour either. So you get behind somebody, you watch some golf, and as I've said for years, it's the party that gets you out there.
Golf is good golf.
It's the networking. It's all the things that come with that tournament, I think, go unchanged, and some will probably, honestly, get even better because it's a little less restrictive on this tour than it is with the PGA. So we'll find out. We'll know in a couple of weeks here, Brady, how that's rocking and rolling. It is right around the
exciting.
They've got risers up. I played Monday in 17. You're hitting into the risers. You're right out there and getting ready as usual. So yeah, we'll see that soon. The big thing, man, I just, this college legislation. Here's a headline for you. Sometimes we do headlines that we missed here, and I'm going to start imploring you to do those, Brady, as you make your way through here when TJ's out. But there is a big headline this morning that we probably do need to talk about. Milan Momcilovic is out now of the NBA draft. The Iowa State sniper, right? Remember everybody, he shot just an obscene percentage from three for the Cyclones last year. So he's out Kentucky, Louisville, Arizona among the teams. I think Arizona was the team I had seen at one point as is maybe the top landing spot for him. We saw St. John's maybe be in.
Yeah.
St. John's just signed Yesufu, so I don't know if they'd still be in.
Arizona looks like maybe a possible contender.
Arizona at one point was thought to be the favorite. Texas Tech could get in on this. It's going to be I would say the team most desperate for him would be Kentucky, because they seem like they've swung and missed a bunch. I think the team I would tell you feels the most likely would be Arizona. Is Louisville going to go all the way all in and do it again? We know the money Tech's been able to throw around. I've seen some people online be like, come on, Bill Self. I don't think Kansas is getting in the Momcilovic game. Just going to throw. I would be stunned if they got in on that because of, the Tyron Stokes factor and how much money that takes and all of these things. But he's a needle mover, Brady. Like, you're talking Buddy Hield, Steph Curry status when you're talking about what kind of shooter he is at the college level. And this is a big one. This is a big one. Where does Momcilovic go? We identified him a long time ago as one everybody should be in on, but now everybody's rosters are kind of, they're kind of there. And there's going to be a few of these guys who has gone to the NBA draft process and will now pull out, because it's going to create a few super free agents here, basically. I have not seen that, Iowa State's still an option. That'd be my favorite place for him to go, would be to go back to Iowa State. But I don't guess that's on the table. I haven't seen that anywhere. I think he has 2 more years if he really wanted to stay in college that he could. So he becomes a really intriguing needle moving player, especially if he stays somewhere, anywhere in the Big 12. Could you imagine if he went to Tech? My goodness. Oh,
that'd be insane. Yeah. 49% beyond the arc last season. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Yeah. It really is interesting with that timing. And then the conversation that we've been having as far as this college sports bill going on at the same time, you kind of wonder, are we potentially seeing some of the last of this era as we see it now, and are players maybe aware of that and being like, okay, we need to make some moves here within the next year or two before some policies start changing. But I think Kentucky. To me, if I was going to say right now, if you had to ask me right now, where's he going? Probably Kentucky, because of what you said. Mark Pope needs a win.
He needs a win. They need something. Can he get the money together to do it? Does he have enough support among that fan base?
Right. I would think Kentucky still has money.
Well, I mean, not if they're losing hope in Mark Pope. At some point, people will be like, all right, I'm done with that. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. We'll see. We'll see that we've been watching him for a long time because we all thought this was coming. Nobody thought he was going to stay in the NBA. We all thought he was coming back, and it's here now. Now he is back, and he becomes a needle mover in the college basketball world. See, this is what I mean. It's not this stuff. Like, are you bothered that he's going to get paid a bunch of money? Or are you bothered that he's not coming back to Iowa State? Like, which of those things bothers you more?
Actually, between the two, when it comes to the overall conversation about the college sports bill and what we're trying to do when it comes to reforming some college sports, neither of those things really bother me that much.
Yeah,
it's the conference realignment and the effect down the line to other sports that probably bothers me.
Which is what we're going to talk about that in the next segment. Yeah. I think for me, like, I don't care that Momcilovic is about to get a bag somewhere. I wish he was coming back to Iowa State. That's the part to me that, as a fan, I think is more fulfilling if you're a Cyclone fan.
Oh, sure.
If you're a college sports fan, the thing I feel like that we miss the most is getting to spend a lot of time with players. Now, I say that, and I think it's been fine. Like, we re-fall in love with players. It's the overall process of knowing you have to re-recruit entire teams that's a little bit exhausting for everybody involved. Most notably coaches and administrators, but fans too. But we'll get into that. And let's talk about some of what you're talking about with realignment. The things I think that are going to get the most contention in this are not the things that have been the most headline grabbing things.
Agreed.
It's some of the other stuff. We'll get into it. On the other side, Dennis Higgins, Tim Fitzgerald coming up this hour. It's Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Brady Bowman here with you. Thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping the entire Odyssey facility, all the studios across the Odyssey networks, fueled up and fired up. We come back in here. Brady, this is a really interesting day to try to dissect the magnitude of this monstrosity that has been, and I say that in the size of it, not in the fact that there's things wrong with it. There are things that I don't like. There are things that I do like. There are things that are going to change. But what it is a starting point, at least, right? We've reached the starting point, finally and thankfully. And the only thing that matters at the forefront is the antitrust part of this, right? Like that's at the end of the day, and this is really like Tom Mars is, a relatively well-known lawyer. And here's his, the coaching rule we talked about, the Lane Kiffin rule. He says, since when does Congress have the power to say when someone's allowed to take a new job in the private sector that has nothing to do with federal government? Okay. We're talking about public institutions. It's not the private sector. These are public institutions for the most part. I've said from the beginning, I don't know how all this applies to private institutions. I don't know.
Yeah, get messy. Yeah.
But what will likely happen is they will create an environment where everybody exists, like we see in pro leagues, like the things that the NFL does wouldn't hold up in regular society, but it's been bargained and these things that allow them to do it. That's why I think at some point we may get all this through, and it may still need to be collectively bargained at some point. But we can create laws here that, make it whatever you want it to be. And that's a political discussion to have. But if, the participating institutions are following a law that's made that says coaches can't be hired, then coaches can't be hired. And that we've seen a lot of that pushback. And, he follows it with people push back. And I'm just using this as an example because we see it all over the place. Like lawyers are the big loser in this, right? It's the antitrust part of it. They're not going to like this because lawyers are just sue. And they're not going to like this because it's restrictive. And I get that. I totally get that. But the problem is we got, they still got to be able to operate the way they need to operate. Said, what if Congress passed a law that said sports writers can only change jobs during the first 3 months of the year? Is that within Congress's authority? Well, we sign contracts, Brady, that say when we can and cannot do things. And a lot of them are outrageous contracts that are signed in the media world. Everybody does it because that's the rules you're trying to operate by. The government, the government mandates all kinds of businesses in certain ways and regulates and restricts based on laws that are put in place. And I'm telling you, I am as free market capitalist as they come. Like, I believe that people are worth what they're worth, right? You're worth what the market says you're worth. That's just, whatever. But there, you have to look at things honestly and and logically. And right now, the model at which college athletics is operating is very likely to be unsustainable, or only sustainable by a select few. And the impact that college athletics does reach into an economic level where lawmakers do probably have some obligations to make sure they protect that for their, especially at taxpayer funded institutions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the balancing act.
You have to be able to look at that stuff reasonably and say, okay, is it, do you agree with the fact that college coaches wouldn't be able to move jobs, under the restrictions of, if you're playing in whatever, let's call it the NCAA, whatever it is, right? Whatever this higher level of college, we'll use college football as an example, but whatever. You're participating in that as a coach. If you don't think that law is fair and just, most of us okay, don't be a college coach then. Go be a coach somewhere else, because those are the rules by which they play.
Go pro.
Go do what the pros have the same thing. There are a lot of rules in place in the pros.
Right, but it's a little
we already have this stuff in place, based on different leagues, because all this stuff gets collectively bargained out. And so I think that's probably why that piece isn't in there on this yet, is because that may be an inevitability down the road, but players aren't ready to do that right now. And will they ever be? That's a big ask. And will they, are they always going to win what they collectively bargain? I don't know, man. Do you think pro leagues, pro players unions win all the time? Because I don't think that they do. It's a give and take, and it's hard to do. So imagine trying to do that with 183 different schools and all those players and all those sports. And I think the bill is saying, we're not saying you can't do it, but we're not saying it has to be done either. So they're going to set these rules in place. But I really don't think, Brady, that this is the stuff that's going to get much contention. That coaching rule, who is going to sit there and say, yeah, we don't like that, we got to take that out? No lawmaker's taking that out, because every voter thinks that's probably a good idea. Right. Lawmakers aren't going to, they're not going to aggravate the hornet's nest. The transfer restrictions. What lawmaker is going to say, nope, we're not going to do that? Because the voting public, the people that, employ lawmakers, essentially, if there is a universal appetite for something, generally speaking, they're going to abide by that, or they're going to be afraid to not. Where we're going to get resistance on this, I think, is some of the stuff that's not necessarily taking the headlines. Man, I'm fascinated by a revenue pooling model. What in the world? How would you, if you're the SEC and the Big Ten and there is any threat of revenue pooling, basically what we have in baseball, right? So with you're sharing revenue. The Yankees have to share their revenue with the Pirates, only to watch the Pirates never spend any money and just coattail it. And there are a lot of teams in baseball that do that. That's been bargained out, that's the way this is going to be. You think the Yankees and the Dodgers like that rule? They're trying to get it out now. Players in their proposal, by the way, made their proposal yesterday and put things in. They don't want it in there either, because they want these other teams spending money. That raises everybody's water, right? So, but if you're the SEC and the Big Ten, and it's optional. This was the Yahoo story yesterday that initially came out, where they dug into this a little bit. It's optional. If 75% of teams want to do it, though, that's enough. And somebody did the math, and they can hit 75% even if no SEC or Big Ten teams do it. I believe that's what I read. So that is something where I think we're actually going to get the most resistance. Basically, you could trigger a share. So the Big Ten and the SEC are clearly more valuable than the other leagues right now. We all know that.
60%. Right? I have that Yahoo article up. I actually already had it up. And yeah, 60% of the value in the college sports market as the Big Ten and SEC.
So they don't want to
60%.
share that. I mean, why? And honestly, like for me, I'm sitting there as a Big 12 honk, and I'm like, why should they? You know, like they shouldn't have to share what they're able to earn in TV revenue, but it's in there. And that I think is where you're going to see the most resistance on this is from the lawmakers that are in the footprint of those schools will say, hang on a minute, we're not doing that. So I don't like it's in there now, but I feel like there's no chance that makes it through. None. Now the super, but again, you got to really like try to put yourself at the negotiating table on something like this, right? Because, and remember, it was a Republican and a Democrat that have largely spent the last few months putting this together. You know, you've got to take this to the table and get it through all these committees and all this other stuff. To me, you put something like that in there if you want something else, because you know that doesn't have much of a chance, right? Like you put that in there and you're like, oh, they got to share. They got to share their stuff. And, you know, one of the senators is from Washington, which would include the footprint now of the Big Ten. One's from Texas, which would include some SEC, but also some Big 12. So you put that in there. And you're like, okay, we got to take that out. But maybe you also put in this Super League thing, and that's where there's actually what you want to have the teeth that stays. And so you get in there and you say, okay, what is the great threat to college sports? In my opinion, one of the greatest threats is a breakaway from those leagues. I think that would ruin everything. If you had leagues playing for different titles, I think it would annihilate the popularity of college sports. I've always thought that.
Because if you're not in the Big Ten or SEC,
you're not watching their stuff anymore.
Well, if there's multiple titles that could be won and they're like tiered pretty much, and you never have a chance. I mean, as a K-State guy, you always go in, especially with the expanded college football playoffs, you have an idea. It's like, well, you know, maybe we got a chance, right? We win at least 10 games. Maybe we can get in the conversation. With what you just talked about, you know that, no, there's no way. You're not going to be at the top of the mountain ever, and you know that. And that would make it difficult. Yeah, I agree. It would just kind of ruin everything, unless you're the Big Ten or SEC.
Yeah. So you've got that real threat because it's being talked about right now at Big Ten and in SEC meetings. Like it's being discussed by these schools and so and this is me again. I like to look at this stuff and try to put myself there and think, well, what are we really looking at here? How would we dissect this? And to me, you see things like media revenue pooling. It's like, that feels like that has no chance to go through. None whatsoever. But also, there's going to be contention on the ability to break away. So I kind of see it as trying to regulate the conference business a little bit, but not too much, and saying, oh, well, you know, we could get to a place where we could share, you know, media rights deals. No way, no chance. We can't do that. Okay, fine. We'll take that out, but we're leaving in the Super League thing. You guys can't break off. You know what I mean?
You're going to pick and choose.
And so I think there's a lot of that with those items where we really have to like get out the magnifying glass and look at it, because I do think it's a threat. I don't think it's a threat that the SEC and the Big Ten make a whole bunch more than everybody else. I don't believe that for a second. Good for them. Good for them.
That's not new either.
Good for it's always been that way. Good for them. Good for their players to be able to earn more, probably in a lot of instances in that league. Don't care. Happy for them, right? What I care about is that at the end of the year, whatever playoffs look like, everybody plays each other. And that's how we find our champion. That is the great threat to me to the sport, is if they were to say, all right, we're going to take how many teams are in those leagues? About 30. We're going to take our 30 teams and we're going to play our own football season. That to me, more than the transfer portal, more than player salaries, more than NIL, more than coach movement, more than any other singular thing is the threat to college athletics or college football mostly. That is the greatest threat, is a breakaway league. And I know those leagues think they could be self-sustaining, and maybe they could, but not to the level they are now.
No.
Because you're no longer a coast-to-coast national interest sport. You are a regional sport at that point. And that is a death sentence So they can talk that talk all they want. Maybe they're even dumb enough to do it. But it is a grave mistake if they did. That's where I think in this legislation you see things like that. And there are other things that feel like to me are in there only designed to be taken out and acquiesced to get through the things that they know must get through. And
Right,
that's
which is
where I
common.
look at it
Yeah.
and want to find which ones do they really want to get through. I think
Yeah.
they want to get through transfer restrictions. I think they would like to get through, well, mostly they want to get through antitrust, period, full stop. Then I think you go to transfer restrictions. Then I think you get into making sure players are well taken care of. Like, because I'm trying to look at it from both sides, right? What are both sides of this? What pieces do they want? I think if we look at politics and the way it works, generally, Democrats are going to want pro-worker parts of this, right? They're going to want the ability to unionize and get to the negotiating table and collectively bargain, if that's ever possible. They're going to want to make sure that's in there. They're going to want to make sure player benefits and rights are well represented and taken care of. The other side is going to want the success of the sport as a whole. They're going to want to make sure the schools are well taken care of and the schools don't get taken advantage of. And, you know, kind of restrict some of this stuff so that you can operate and be this big profitable engine that exists. And again, imagine how much college athletics means to so many of these politicians' constituents. And these are taxpayer-funded things. And that's where you're going to see a lot of pushback. And this will be hard for me because, again, let me say again, free market. I believe in that wholeheartedly. At the same time, these are taxpayer-funded institutions that have to do what they need to do. All right, let's take a quick pivot. We'll have more on this with Tim Fitzgerald. We got a conversation here. Dennis Higgins joins us. Dennis, can't tell you how much we appreciate the quick pivot. Shout out to Max here. Welcome into Sports Daily. I think we've had you in before, but it's been a while. How are you, Dennis?
I'm doing fine. No, I have been on the show before, and I don't mind helping you guys out at all. And I'm in Tulsa right now. We're supposed to have a game or a doubleheader today, but we're getting a lot of rain. I don't know if it's raining in Wichita, but
We're
we got
getting
rain
some of
up
it. We appreciate
Yeah.
you guys it's the rare east to west rainstorm. So we are getting some of that. We appreciate you sending it our way. A few minutes here, Dennis. We just want to get your take on this bat dog situation. Kendall George jumps over the dog, gets hurt. I hate this story so much because I love so much the things minor league organizations do to make it fun for the fans. This is a bummer, man. What's your take on all this?
Well, if you saw the video that was on social media throughout the last couple of days, my call is on that. I did not actually see it when it happened. I was working solo on Monday night. That was Memorial Day. We had a big crowd, and my broadcast partner was away. And normally, if he had been there, we probably would have noticed on the monitor. But doing a game by myself, I didn't know till the next inning. Somebody came in and said, "Hey, I think Kendall got injured jumping over one of the bat dogs." And then later, I saw the video, and it's just one of those freak things that occurs. I mean, what are the chances that's going to happen? He leaps over the dog and lands wrong. Doesn't even look like he leaped that high in the air. Now, the latest is I checked yesterday. An MRI done on Tuesday. That was an off day. The results were sent yesterday to Los Angeles for the doctors to have a look at. Doctors to have a look at it, and we've not heard anything since. But he didn't play last night. He's on the roster, but he's not active. So who knows? His status remains unknown right now. But it's just one of those freak things, and it's unfortunate. Like you said, there are a lot of things like that they do to promote minor league baseball aside from the game itself. There's something always going on between innings. And those have been very popular, the bat dogs. Usually they're here every Friday night, and the crowd really responds. And
Dennis,
I think what happened was, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Finish that.
Well, I just think what happened was the person, in charge of the dog let the dog out too early to go to his own place to pick up the bat is what happened.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Yeah, we're punishing the dog.
Yeah, hopefully everything can get sorted out. Man, I hate that. So we appreciate the insight there, Dennis. So I'm going to go look for that call. your call on it, because what a fascinating thing to see from the booth. It's just like what just happened. But we appreciate it. Let's get you back on here soon when you guys come up to Wichita. Appreciate it.
This is Sports Radio KFH.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, go to kfhradio.com/rules.
Exceeding customers' expectations is our
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
8310 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Daily on KFH. And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
That insider, Tim Fitzgerald, joining us, our K-State insider, kind of a college sports insider, an old wise man of college sports.
Glad you added wise to that.
Yeah, one of those adjectives is true, at least. Fitz, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm currently eating breakfast, which is cold pizza. I'll never grow up.
Breakfast. That is a good breakfast. So I don't know how much this will all relate to K-State, Fitz. Obviously, the new bill is out. We finally get a look at it. If you had get out your crystal ball, Fitz, and tell me, because we know a lot of this was put in to be taken out. We know a lot of this is going to be negotiated. We've played this. I think ultimately something gets done here. But if you had to guess at, let's say the three main things that will stay, right? That will come from this, that will be there, that will change what we are currently seeing in college sports. Like, what are those key things you think are going to get to the finish line?
That's a good question. Full disclosure, I haven't looked at the bill yet, but the first one, the SCORE Act, failed because it didn't represent student athletes' interests at all. So if you want to get this through Congress, you're going to have to address that in an equitable way, a fair way. That's how we got here. I mean, the NCAA really had no right to limit name, image, and likeness at any point. And it's just absurd to think you sign a scholarship so they own your face. Think about that. It was absurd. I'm surprised it went on that long. So they're going to have to be balanced there. But they have to come to some kind of agreement on how the NIL is used. And look, this is an issue where nobody wants the free market. I'm a free market guy, but you don't really want the free market at play here, because then we end up with even a more tragic version of what Major League Baseball's become, because there's no contract. Bobby Witt would have had a one-year deal, and not be in Kansas City right now. So I think there's some real issues, and as I said, I haven't looked at this, but Congress, I don't have any faith Congress is going to get it right, but they have to get it right, guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's about time. And like you said, the NIL, it's amazing that it went on as long as it did as far as pre-NIL. For schools like K-State, KU, Big 12, Wichita State. I mean, that's the thing. We're kind of all on basically anybody that's not Big Ten, SEC is kind of on the outside looking in. Big Ten and SEC, everything's been working great for them. I'm sure if they had it their way, there'd really be no changes with anything. But that's kind of the crux of all this, right? Is how do we marry interest when it comes to the Big Ten and SEC, who are on top? Everything's going great for them. It's everybody else is trying to catch up, especially when it comes to equal pay and everybody kind of playing by the same rules.
I agree with that in concept, but not when you start taking this out over the long term. It's almost like a fire. At some point, after it devours all the schools that you mentioned, it's coming for Mississippi State and Purdue. They're going to fall behind within their own conferences, because now the mathematics is all about the gap widening between them and the top of their own conference. So honestly, one of the big problems is Greg Sankey wants to solve things for his conference and his conference only. They're talking about rules for the SEC. How about you just follow the rules of the rest of the college athletics? You haven't never done that, really. And now with the rev share settlement from the House case, they're ignoring it. How about you just follow rules? Because the thing is if they set these rules in place without penalty, without consequence, they're gonna ignore the rules again. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the problem. Winning trumps everything in this environment, and that includes integrity. And but yeah, this is going to destroy. If they don't fix this, it's going to destroy athletic departments, and maybe universities, because the states can't afford to prop up athletics and the university can't, as a whole, prop up athletics. It's a mess.
So that's where I would say Tim Fitzgerald, gopowercat.com. At the absolute base level of everything on this, the antitrust piece of it is going to be the most important. If they can if they can get the framework to just not constantly and consistently be sued, then they can put some teeth on things. So I think that's the first thing. All this other stuff, we'll see what stays. That's the piece that has to be in there. I get the sense there is a wide appetite now for the transfer rules, this 5-year system, one for free, not the rest. And I do think there is an appetite pretty universally for the CSC stuff that they put in that they just can't get enforced. So I think those are the big ones. But, man, there are a lot of other things in there that are really interesting. You want to talk about, and I know you love throwing the bird to Greg Sankey in the SEC. How about a provision in there that allows for media rights pooling if 75% of schools agree to do it? The SEC and the Big Ten is going to have absolutely no interest in something like that. But this is what I told Brady. That's in there. Yeah. That's going to get taken out. Like those lawmakers from those states aren't going to let that happen. But there's also provision that prevents them from breaking off and supporting a super league. So I'm looking at that like, okay, it's almost like they put in this fluff that has no chance, but maybe they could keep, but you guys can't break away and form your own league. You have to stay connected to these other leagues. That's a concession that you have to make, and we won't make you share your rights. And I'd be totally fine with that. By the way, I don't think the Big Ten and the SEC should ever have to share their rights. If they can make more money, good for them.
I agree. I totally agree with that. At the end of the day, Congress is a game. And I think you literally have to put in stuff so that Congress feels like it did something by removing it. And
I think we might have lost Fitz there.
I think we did, yeah.
Max, maybe try a reconnection there. We'll come back. But, yeah, he's right. It is a game. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's a game. There's going to be bits and pieces of this designed to fail, it feels like to me, Brady. That's where
they have unenforceable rules.
There we go. We got you back. There we go. Yeah, unenforceable rules. Like, but that's a part of if that's a part of the process and that's how we have to get to the finish line. Okay, great. I don't care what it takes.
We need some finish line. Something.
Agreed. Like the courts are ruling against the NCAA because they don't have representation of student athletes. You got to address that, and then you got to stop the courts from just jumping on everything, because some of the rulings have been kind of absurd. A lot of them right, but now it's like trendy just to try to destroy the NCAA and how it's functioning, and it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, they've got to get the antitrust portion.
I mean, there has to be a governing body in all of this. Has to be.
Yeah.
Are we okay collectively? I'm on board now with if there are provisions put in to help extenuating circumstances with the 5 years of eligibility, one free transfer thing. I think from a fan's perspective, honestly, that's the most important thing. I don't think anybody really cares what players get paid or what they make in NIL. I think they only care that they have to be re-recruited every year, and every year's free agency.
I don't agree with that. I don't. I think the escalation of the prices of getting players is completely unsustainable and will destroy the sport.
But doesn't that price go down if the transfer portal's not open season every year?
I agree with that. But, just the idea that roll back to when Nigel Pack transferred from K-State. This was 4 years ago. and went to Miami and got $100K, and we thought, oh gosh, that's a lot of money. That doesn't get you anything now.
I still think it's a lot of money.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I'll take it.
yeah, I would take it too. But now you've got Brendan Sorsby is an okay quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Is he worth $5 or $6 million? Well, in this free market frenzy, yeah, because Tech's got the money to pay. But next time it's going to be 9. It is escalating at a rate that, as I mentioned earlier, will eventually devour everyone except the very wealthiest schools. And you're going to have a league of Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia. I don't even know.
So you want the salary cap then? You're very pro salary cap?
Not typically pro salary cap, but they've got to come. There's got to be some guardrails here to stop this endless escalation.
It's a part of it. I mean, they want to enforce what's already in place. That's a part of this bill. They want to put in enforcement. I mean, if they get the antitrust right, they can. That's why they don't enforce it.
Right. But you're right. Let's be really honest. At the end of the day, none of this matters if the NCAA isn't greatly reformed and does not shy away from punishing the big boys, because that they don't. The big boys know they can get away with cheating because they're too valuable. The NCAA isn't going to ban Alabama from postseason play in football. They're not going to ban UConn from postseason in basketball. Even if they catch them, they'll punish Fresno State. And until there's actual teeth to punishment of these institutions for violating rules, it's going to cycle back around and erupt again, because if you don't enforce your laws, you don't have laws. You just have things written down. And that's really, at the end of the day, the root cause of a lot of this is the NCAA has been feckless and weak and uneven-handed with enforcement. And that can't happen anymore. You have to enforce your rules no matter who you are and what your status is in the sport. In fact, I would argue more so if you're a big boy cheating and taking advantage and trying to open up that gap, you should absolutely get devastated, because it'll keep happening. If the price of punishment doesn't exceed the price of cheating, people are going to do it. You don't take away national championships for programs that have now been proven to cheat, then it was worth it. It was worth cheating, period.
And for some of them, it may have been worth it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Sure. Fitz, one thing I've been looking at with this bill, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, but what's interesting to me is the non-revenue sports. And it does touch on some Olympic sports and those sort of issues, and women's sports. And we've seen it here at Wichita State with the golf team going away.
Yep.
What can be done when it comes to that? To me, I look at conference realignment as part of the biggest reason for those woes for those non-revenue programs. But is there anything that can be done from a congressional standpoint when it comes to helping out non-revenue sports?
Well, I honestly don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, can you force a university to sponsor sports at a certain funding level? I think what we're going to see is they'll stop dropping sports, but fund them at such a low level. It's a glorified club team. It's a club team with scholarships, and they're all riding vans 12 hours to go to an event. Everything's about football with basketball right behind it. Now, Wichita State's a different circumstance. Those universities that don't play football have a different revenue model. I get all that. But for the power level schools, you've got to succeed in football. You got to get all that revenue, and you got to pump the revenue back into football to get more revenue, and the hell with everything else. That's the reality of what the market's become.
Fitz, next week I want to get your take on whether Gene Taylor's losing the fans there at K-State. I know there's been a lot of talk about that with some of his comments, but we'll do it. Go powercat.com. Find all the latest. Fitz, appreciate it.
Thank you, boys.
See you, Fitz.
Tim Fitzgerald, K-State Insider. We're coming right back with more Sports Daily. Don't go away.